What do a physician, a coach, a global traveler, a wife, and mother all have in common? Well, you're going to find out because that's who my guest is this week. Welcome to Travel That Touches Your Soul, podcast and video channel, where we bring you the people and places around the world to help you connect with something greater than yourself, something that will help you fulfill your heart's desires. I'm Karen Cleveland, and today's guest is Stacey Funt. Now, she is, as I mentioned, physician, coach, global traveler, wife, and mother. She is someone who believes deeply in the power of travel to transform us. She's going to share with us her story because she's been drawn to adventure and connection and well-being her whole life, and she has molded this into the perfect travel opportunities. So, welcome, Stacey.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
It's really great to have you on the show. I'm really excited to hear you tell some of your stories. I know you've created some amazing trips for people to experience, as well as the one that started you. I'm very excited about what's to come, but we will talk about those in a little bit. I want to start with how you started in all this, what happened. And I'm going to share a picture for the people that are watching. There's stairs, there's places for bodies, and then there's the, I guess, crematorium where they burn the bodies in the back, these that look like temples? Is that
Yes.
what they do there?
Just a little context. I have always been an adventure traveler my entire adult life. And I guess this was about 3.5 years ago, I have two twins. They left for college. We became empty nesters. About a month before they left, my husband's father died. And about a month after they left, very sadly, my father died. And so it was a deep time of loss and grieving in my life, and it was so many shifts, and I was also 58 years old. I was going to be 59, which is the age my mother died. My mother died young.
Wow.
So it brought up all these feelings of loss and death and grief, and I was really in a funk, and Karen, for the first time in my whole life, I started to question if the best was behind me,
Oh
which
my
I've
gosh.
never felt like that before. Mothering was over, and death felt so near because of all these experiences, and I was so sad for the people that we lost,
I
and
think a lot of people in that age range feel
yeah.
that way, so I think this is really important.
Yeah, and I tried so many things and nothing was helping. My my whole being just ached and felt sad. And I've always been a traveler and I always joke I don't pick a trip picks me. And this was, I guess at this point it was like November and I just knew I had to go trekking in Nepal. I'm not in the greatest shape. I enjoy movement, I enjoy hiking. I do moderate, but I felt a very deep calling to go there. I'd known about it, I'd wanted to go in the past, and it just became very prevalent, and I asked my husband, I said, "Do you wanna go on this trip with me?" And he said, "Sure." We were gonna be going in April. And just having a goal, just having something that excited me started to bring me back to life, right? The
Oh,
pattern
yeah.
planning, we had to train, we had to start moving.
Yeah.
We're moving, and so much of it started to bring me back to life. So before the trek, we landed in Kathmandu. This is from Kathmandu. And Kathmandu was wild and electric, and I loved it. We had to wear a mask because of the smog. I'm usually a nature person, not a city person, but it was so electric and raw and cows and cars everywhere, but no honking. Like it was interesting to me. And we had a wonderful guide and we went to the crematorium. If you're not Hindu, you can't go inside most of the temples, but we couldn't go inside the crematorium, but we walked around it. And this was so meaningful to me because he told us in depth a lot of spiritual beliefs and practices of the Hindus around death and dying. And it was very different from my beliefs and my concepts. And hearing them talk about how the whole family comes together, the oldest son actually is the one who sets the body on fire. They wash the body together, the family, they burn the body. That's actually considered like a good deed because they're releasing the soul from the body. And then
No.
the body is released and turned to ashes and sent back to the water and the earth. And then the soul moves on. And it was such a sense of a cycle rather than an ending, where I had just felt such an ending with the two deaths that had just happened in my family that it was very healing on a level to have these alternative perspectives of life and death, that just this one visit here, it was the right time, the right moment, in the
Yeah.
right place that expanded my mind to other possibilities. And even though they're not necessarily my beliefs, it was healing on some level for the loss of the people we missed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very powerful. So you land in this place that is just bustling. The crematorium area here looks pretty slow, solemn.
Yeah.
Did you witness a burial or what do they call it? A burial? Because they don't bury
No,
him.
it was, he called it a burning. We did not. There was one
Okay.
earlier that day.
Okay.
We did not. The red on the steps, by the way, is not blood. I hate to be gory. That's they paint things certain areas. I was grateful for the quiet because I got to use my own imagination of what the process of passing on meant to me.
Yeah.
So it was a very spiritual place. It just felt sacred and felt like a real privilege to be able to have a glimpse. And so the moment of death and the moment of birth are such sacred moments. To be at a place where something so profound happens felt very stirring for us. And of course, the guide was wonderful and he shared so much. This was his home and his ritual. So it was really powerful for us.
So I might point out in my mind that there was probably a death of sorts going on with you. You had mentioned you were worried because you were approaching the age that your mother died, and you have this whole new life ever since that time.
Yeah.
So something new was born out of you out of this trip at that
Yeah.
age, it sounds like.
Yes, that's perfect. I've had quite a few transformations throughout my life on different trips, but this is one of the most profound that led to such change. Yeah, it's a whole new cycle of my life now.
I want to share this. There's a picture of just it's bright orange and stairways that go down and circular. And where did you say this is?
So we landed in Kathmandu, then we flew to Pokhara, which is another part. It's right next to India, because that's where we were going to be starting and ending our 5-day trek through the Annapurna region. It's the area of the main mountains, but we were going on smaller ones. So we were going on the
Okay.
trek. So this is in Pokhara, and this is a Hindu temple. It's very interesting though. It was all underground. You walk down these spiral stairs, and then it was these caverns with these special rock formations. That was a very spiritual place for the Hindus. They had great meaning of this. We stumbled upon it. We had no idea it was a holiday. We went without a guide. We just took a taxi there. I read about it. It seemed interesting. We had no idea it was going to be one of their holy days. We just
Oh,
walked with the herds because we didn't speak any English, and we just experienced the energy from what we felt and what we saw because we could not understand a thing and we had no context and we had no guide with us. So it was really fascinating you're only seeing the outside place. The real event took place in the caverns underneath, but I didn't
okay.
want to disrespect the moment with a camera.
Right.
But to experience the place without the main sense of your brain understanding the language, it was very unique for us.
So you were allowed to go in those caverns. You're not allowed in some of the temples, right? But you could
Yes.
go into through the caverns.
Yes, and you just take your shoes off and everybody walks through these dark, wet caves, and there were certain rooms with a very basic little lamp, and they had what to us looked like rock formations that obviously had great meaning to other people because most everybody else, they were coming to pay respects. They were honoring their deities in this region,
Okay.
and they were bringing offerings of mangoes and flowers and gold coins and different food, and they would place their offerings on the altars. That the reason I shared this photo, even though you can't see the inside, the thing that was most touching to me was the level of pure devotion. Like that's the word that came to mind. It was such pure love and pure devotion of something outside of themselves
Oh,
that we don't usually get to witness something
right.
like that. To me, I don't anyway, that it really touched me. There was like it seemed like almost just a pure love to me that was very moving.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So Where are you here? Are you about to start your trek?
Yeah, so I just gotten up a lot of stairs at this point. So we did a 5-day trek in the Annapurna region. We went up to about 10,000 feet. I think we climbed 8,000 feet over 3 or 4 days or something like that. Maybe 9,000 feet. It was like 3 or 4,000 foot of climb a day. One day was a lot less. For me, that's a lot. For other people, that might not be. For me, that was a lot. So I went slow. We were a small group. We had a few Sherpas carrying our bags. We were just 4 guests, me and my husband, and there were 2 other women.
Okay.
They were Americans living in Thailand. We had a guide and we had 2 Sherpas carrying all of our belongings. And I was the slowest of the group. I just took my time. And I also did that on purpose because I got to walk alone. They weren't far away, but I felt a great need to be in solitude on this journey. And you'll see from all the pictures what I was surrounded by. But that was a moment of getting up the steps. And that was a huge accomplishment for me because it was an enormous number of steps. And
Okay.
it took me like 8 hours to get up there, 7 or 8 hours.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It was a big trek. It was a
Wow.
and, that particular path had more steps than path on this day. Uh,
Okay. This is on that same trek?
yes, yeah, all the pictures of the mountains are during those 5 days of the trek.
Okay. Okay. So here you are. And I look at all the prayer flags that are up there
Yeah,
and those mountains.
yeah.
So it was 5 days till you saw the mountains, or how long before you
No, we
got
saw the mountains on, like, day 2. I think day 3, they started to be snow-capped. It was 2 or 3. Like, the first full day, we didn't, but then after that, we did. Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is the Everest region, but we didn't do the base camp to Everest, but if you did, you'd be starting from the same region.
Oh, I see.
It was just magnificent. And then periodically you'd see the prayer flags, and it was just majestic is the only word I can think of. It was like bold and raw and majestic. And I also walked a little behind on purpose.
Right.
I needed healing. I needed soothing. And me personally, I needed my soul to open up to the next phase because I had felt so closed before I came here. And I don't use that word lightly. I don't walk around using that word so often, but it really was such a pivotal time in my life that I needed to find my life force again, my life energy again. I don't know how else to say it. And this is what fed me. Walking and being surrounded by this and just letting feelings wash through and then not even have feelings, like just being present among such raw beauty and powerful nature.
Right. I want to look at the mountains real fast. How amazing to be surrounded by that. Were you able to just, and maybe it's not your thing to do. I know that I would want to just sit and be with the mountains for a while.
I felt I was with them, walking with them.
That's,
I,
yeah. Okay.
I felt it was a moving meditation for me.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Now, on some of your trips, just a quick question. Do you take people to places like this? I know you weren't even taking people on trips at this point, but because of your experience on this trek, do you do similar experiences?
I do. I had thought of starting a travel company for a long time, and all of my trips are very different, but all of them have the awe factor.
Okay.
Because that I create trips I want to go on. So that's just very important to me. All of my trips take place in awe-inspiring natural settings, whether it's in Peru in the Andes, or we're going on safari, or we're walking a Camino, or we're kayaking on Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, or wherever it is. In Morocco, we go to the Sahara under the stars in the desert in Morocco, and they all have moments of that deep connection with an awe-inspiring place.
Yeah. Yeah. So next, here's the beauty of travel. We can plan everything we want. Like you said, You didn't know that it was a holiday. So tell us about this fun scene.
Yeah, this just makes me smile to see that. So this is when we went to Pokhara. We didn't even know it ended up being the Lunar New Year. It was their New Year celebration. So all the streets were closed. This was the main street in downtown. And they set up this stage, and this is their big entertainment. And what was so beautiful, again, there were very few tourists there. This was mainly local people. And it was such simple joy. Like, this was their whole entertainment, and it was gorgeous. There were no big flashing lights, there was no fireworks or magical. It was just this kind of dance and these pure smiles. And as we looked around the crowd, there were families, there were teenagers, like boys holding hands because they're friends. And there wasn't much drinking, there wasn't much partying. It was dance, and it was communities out together celebrating. And it just, again, it brought up that whole idea of simplicity and joy. And this music just makes me happy.
It does. It makes me happy too. And you had another experience here.
This was right after the trek. This was just walking through a park. These were local families camping out for the celebration. And some musicians started playing and they started dancing, and they pulled me into the circle and we danced. And again, it was just expression and movement, and it was authentic joy. That's what it was. It was beautiful. And it was also connection. It
Yeah.
was beautiful.
Yeah. And all of that is the beauty of travel. You just never know what's going to present itself.
Yes.
And all you want.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your business, what it's called, and what you do in it?
So my company is called LHAdventure Travel. The LH stands for lifestyle health. So I am a physician and a health coach. And so this brings the magic of travel together with wellness and self-care. And all of my trips have certain aspects to them based on wellness and well-being. So all of my trips take place in beautiful, awe-inspiring places that I want to go travel. They all have movement. They have moderate movement. Most of my guests this is for women. It's mainly 40s through late 60s. I get older, I get younger. The age doesn't matter. I just want a 20-year-old to know we're not running up Kilimanjaro.
Right.
It's moderate movement. We have different guides, but there is movement. They all have hiking. Some have kayaking. We e-bike through Tuscany. There's different things, but they all have hiking. Then there's food. There's healthy, whole foods. We have farm-to-table meals. We take a cooking class. We do food tours, all different sorts of things. Then the third component is relaxation. So all of my trips take place in a spa. We go to a spa. There's yoga in Nepal. I have a Nepal Bhutan trip coming up. We have the sound bath healing. And then the fourth, and to me the most important in a lot of ways, is community connection. All of my trips, some women come alone, some come with a friend, but I talk with everyone before they come. And just to make sure it's the right energy level for them. They want to get to know me. And we form a sisterhood, and we go as a community. We eat our dinners together. We have conversation. I have certain questions and prompts. And it's a really supportive group of women who want to be together, experiencing these new cultures and these new experiences. And some women have transformation. Some women have a lot of fun, and we all experience beauty and nature together.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Tell me, when is your Bhutan trip? When is that coming up?
Yeah, that's sold out already. So you say that's in 2027.
Okay, and it's
That
sold
one-
out already.
That's sold out already. I am going to do another. Yeah, it's been wonderful. Most people want to come again, but I'm going to continue to do that, and I may add on a second. I go to all my trips before I run them to make sure it's exactly what I want. So I'm running that trip this October, and then I'm going this October, and then the trip runs October of 2027. I will definitely do it in 2028. I have a decent waiting list. I may add on a second trip for 2027. I'll see. But that will be Nepal for 4 days. We're not going to the same region I did because we're not doing that same type of trek. We're going to go to Kathmandu,
Okay.
and then we'll go trekking in just an area an hour from Kathmandu. That's a little easier trek, a 2-day trek. And then we'll go to Bhutan, and we'll spend 7 days immersed in Bhutan, and we'll sleep overnight in a monastery, and we'll do a trek and all the different aspects of that. A lot of we go to Peru. We hike the Inca Trail, but we do one day. We do the last day of the Inca Trail.
Okay.
And then we go to the Sacred Valley and we stay in Ollantaytambo, which is a beautiful ancient Inca town. And we do very culturally immersive things there as we're acclimating. And then we go to Cusco at the end or Morocco. All of them, to me, have that same arc of culture, experience, welcome, exotic, and then a deep dive into a raw beauty nature moment with that
Mm.
really deep connection. Then back home. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. And what is your website, or how do people find out more about it?
Yeah. So it's LHAdventuretravel.com. My name is Stacey Funt. My email is info@LHAdventuretravel.com. Imagine you'll have the links, anything like
Yes.
that. I do have a
Yes.
newsletter, and in my newsletter, I like to share insights or observations or sometimes recipes and things like that. But I just did a newsletter that I really loved. One of my kids are about to graduate college, and one of them is planning a journey right now, right before she starts her big job. And I'm going to Africa on January 8th, and
Oh,
I'm changing my work from part-time to per diem, my medical work. And
okay.
so it made me think how travel so often marks these big transitions in our lives. The
Mm.
newsletter is about that. Why is that? And what travel afford that allows or marks these moment of transition in our life for us or opens us up to new possibility. Things like that.
Yeah,
Letter.
that's fantastic. You're right. It does often mark transitions in our life. You're right. I want to thank you, and I want to close with this video that I love. So, if you want to, once I get it shared, say a few words about it. I just think it's such a fun, amazing little video here.
Yeah.
So, before I start it, we have Stacy and a gentleman from Nepal. Well, I can let Stacy describe it.
Yeah, this is in the middle of our trek. This was a free afternoon. This was my Sherpa. And my husband and I, we had a few hours free, and we walked by and we saw him and our guide sitting having a drink. And they invited us in, and we just sat and talked with them. And he just said, he just offered me a glimpse of one of their love dances. And again, such an unexpected, beautiful, authentic moment of connection you could see how joyous he looks.
Yes, I love this. I love this video. Absolutely. Nice. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your experiences with us today. I'd love to have you back sometime to talk about some of your other ones as well. I'm grateful and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Yeah. All right. And to the listeners and the viewers out there, thank you for being with us as well. And I look forward to connecting with you later. Bye bye.